Coming up on Jesus First, then Coffee.
And honestly, if I can be real with y'all,
Please.
I trusted God with my career, with my ministry. Never trusted him with my love life.
Girl. Oh my goodness.
And I'm still healing through that, you know?
Oh my goodness.
I
Wow.
trusted God more with my business and everything. But then I'm like, all right, God, you can handle that. But this relationship area, I got.
Hey, y'all, welcome back to Jesus First, then Coffee, the podcast. I'm your host, Angel. I'm so excited that you are sharing your Monday morning or whatever day that you're watching this. I'm really happy that you tune in weekly. We are passionate about pushing out the message of putting Jesus first and our desires second. So we're about to have an amazing conversation. But first, I need you to get some coffee and get some tea because y'all are going to be so excited about this next guest. This is Jesus First, then Coffee. Y'all, my next guest is a beautiful, God-fearing woman. She is a CEO and founder of Young Black Successful, with a passion of empowering and educating African-American youth and young adults to surpass the societal success norms. She's also the vice president of networking programming at Reach Gospel Radio Network, along with many other amazing platforms that exude all things creativity and inspiration. Destiny is passionate about truly multiplying the gifts that God has placed in her. On this episode, she's going to take us down the journey of how she put Jesus first in her life. You're going to be able to see different transparent moments with her. So if y'all enjoy this conversation, please join the family by subscribing and giving us a like and share with a friend and let us know what you really think about this episode. So without further ado, Destiny, my beautiful queen. How are you?
I'm doing great. And I'm just so happy to be on your podcast. Like, I love your platform. I love you and your sister. I love everything that you guys stand for. So it is definitely an honor.
Wow. We love you too. Honey, listen, Destiny be stunting. Okay. She be looking, finger licking good. If you look at her social media, you don't see a hair out of place. Honey, she looks good. A snack that smiles back. Okay.
Oh,
Period. Okay. So the first question I actually have is, what drink did you bring to the table?
I have tea today.
Nice.
Raspberry tea.
Oh, I like it. It's giving very zen. It's giving fresh. It's
That's
giving
what I'm
cozy.
saying. Yes.
Relaxing. I like that. That's, today I have it's a caramel latte, but it's hot because it's just raining outside and it's just giving, you want to cozy up with a nice warm cup. My drink today is sponsored by Win Plus. Win Plus is a cafe DVD movie rental store here in Houston, Texas. On this episode and on many other episodes, we tend to want to showcase the drinks that we have here. Win Plus is just bringing back that nostalgic family feeling of bringing families back together by renting movies and having some nice fun drinks, and you're going to be able to hear different stuff like that on this podcast. Okay, so let's dive into the questions. I'm really passionate about kind of being transparent with people to let them know, like, this walk with God it can be very much so it seems intimidating because all you see is like these polished Christians, and it's like, man, how can I really live up to that standard? I think just for you are such a beautiful woman that really is very hardworking, passionate. You do your thing. So I just want you to be able to let us know and kind of be transparent with us and let us know, what did you put first in your life before you laid it down for Jesus?
I put my timeline first. I've always been very, very driven. I already knew I was going to do something big, right? I knew God has called me to arenas. I knew he called me to big platforms. I wasn't exactly sure if I was going to do like theater or broadcasting or whatever, but I knew he called me to big things. So I've always been very focused, very driven, always had a calendar, always had my goals, and I still have my goals down, but I've been intentional since a little girl about who I am and my call and my assignment. But outside of that, I've learned that God's timing is perfect.
Wow.
And sometimes I was trying to make things happen instead of allowing it to happen organically.
Yeah.
God has taught me, like, I got you. Just trust me. put all your desires before me. Ask
Mm,
God to purify your desires
mm,
and
yeah.
work and be consistent and be faithful, be a good steward over your gifts and whatever assignments that he's given you and your
Mm,
responsibilities. So I've learned to do that. And then God just makes it happen. He does the rest. Like, I'm
yeah.
not saying not to be intentional and not to have your goals, but you
Right.
can't really like force to make those things happen. And what
Right.
I learned was when things didn't happen at certain times, I would be
Mm,
brokenhearted.
mm,
Outside of ministry, outside of my careers, like I
mm-hmm.
just knew at 26 or 25, I was going to be married with
Yeah.
kids
Listen.
by
Yeah.
now, right? Like a lot of us think that,
Yeah.
bless the name of the Lord for those that
Let's
are. But that's not for me. Marriage is not
Yeah.
for my 20s.
Mm,
The Lord revealed to me and through my
wow.
mentors that my 20s are for my assignment. My 20s is
Wow.
I'm not called to a man right now. And you
Ooh,
can't I,
wait.
I'm not
Wait. Woman of
right.
God. You said you're not called to a man right now.
I'm not.
Oh, wow. This
Yes,
is keep going.
I'm
Go
a
ahead.
wife. I'm a wife
Wow.
on the bench, right? And so God,
Wow.
that's the one. And
Yeah.
so right now, I'm not called to a man. I'm called to my assignment and the
Jesus.
people that He has called me to, right? So that's my man right now. But outside of that, before I was hurt. I'm like, come on, God.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want to be an older mom. And still
Yeah.
sometimes the enemy will try to, play with my mind and says, oh, you're gonna be an old mom, you're gonna be that.
Mm,
But I just have to speak what I know,
mm,
speak the word back. Like I'm the head and
mm,
the tail. I'm above and not beneath. I'm a lender and not a bar. Everything attached to me wins. God's timing is perfect. The
mm,
promises of God are yes and amen. And
mm,
so one thing that people must know is that when the enemy tries to play with your mind, you got to shift your mindset. You got to change your perspective and you
yeah.
fight back with the word.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned, to fight back with the word of God. But yeah, my timeline. And,
Wow.
God is blessing me tremendously. Like He's given me
Yeah.
that I didn't even pray for at
Mm,
all. I would have never thought that at 28, I would be vice president of a radio network,
mm,
leading, gospel networks in the country.
wow.
I didn't even pray for that. So that's
Wow.
another reason just
Wow.
to lay my timeline down and leave it before the Lord.
Wow.
Goodness and mercy shall follow you all the days of your life. That's facts. That's period.
Mm,
That's a promise. So lay your
promise.
timeline down and trust the Lord with your life.
Wow.
That's it.
Wow.
So,
Wow. You know, I'm gonna so I think it's very interesting because whenever I interview women, that seems to be almost like the message between like just the fine line message in the podcast of just constantly laying your will down.
yes.
Because with men, you hear their thing that they had to lay down was just them doing them. Like they doing them. Women, we have this structure of this is how it's supposed to be. And I
Yes.
was talking to my sister Farah the other day, and I was like, I think that is because at the beginning of time, Adam and Eve, when God told Adam not to eat the fruit, Eve ate it and advised him to eat it. That's when time started. Like that's when the clock started. That's when the heartbeat, had its first beat because they were in it. They were living in a beautiful place. They wanted for nothing. Everything was perfect. But once you brought sin in, that's when death came. So I think it's interesting that the woman feels the weight of the timeline so strong because she's the one that brought it in. She's the one that even brought in that death penalty, if we can say that. And I think it's a constant thing for us to lay down our timeline, but also that goes also into our desires. We desire just a nice life, you know.
A
We
quiet life. Yeah, well,
just
one man.
nice.
What for me? One
One
man
man
for the rest of my. I gotta say for me, because
for me.
our generation is a little different. No judgment,
No
but
judge,
for me in my house, I was called to one man.
man.
And yeah, that's I desire to
Yeah,
wife and to be a mother. And I'm getting at that age, and I'll be like, all right, you
yeah,
know what? You told me not my 20s, but my 30s knocking on the door. So I'll be ready when you show me who he is. But
Yeah.
yeah, that's a constant thing. And not to say that sometimes, I don't get lonely or I don't think about it. I definitely do. But
Yeah.
I constantly speak the word over myself.
Yeah.
And I surround myself with my mentors and with my family and with people that
Yeah.
remind me of who I am.
Wow. And going back a little bit, the fact that you said that you're not called to a man right now is very interesting, because we don't see it like that. We see, oh, we're not wanted. Oh, we must be
Right.
doing something wrong. What are they doing that I'm not? But the fact that you are taking your gifts and you're multiplying them, because you're not just doing one thing. I
Right.
see it as like the gifts and talents. You're not just blessed and with one creative ability. You have so many outlets that the Lord is just like using you in, to where if you did stop and take your focus off of all of that to just focus on building a relationship right now, what will be lacking? What you will be burying your gifts if
Yeah.
that, to an extent. So I think that is just, that's very heavy that you said that. And I really want women to really, really just grab a hold of that. What are you supposed to be doing right now that the Lord has put on your heart? It could be writing a song, writing a book,
Yeah.
just working in your local church. Like there's things that the Lord has put on our hearts. He calls us to, in this waiting season, you're not just supposed to sit there and wait. You're supposed to be a waitress, wait on the Lord,
Come on.
and being of good courage. So I just really want you to just grab hold of what she just said. Are you called to a man right now? Are you called to be a wife right now? Or are you called to just tend to what God has given you to do in this season? That was so good.
Yes.
My God.
Man.
So what moment did you realize, okay, I'm really focused on my time client? Because you kind of mentioned that you would get heartbroken when things weren't really happening. So at what point did you have just like this light bulb moment of, you know what, I gotta just, focus on God.
Yeah. So I've had a few heartbreaks by men.
Wow.
And
Oh,
um,
oh,
listen, and people would have never
whew.
known, I was a youth pastor,
Wow.
in seminary, doing
Wow.
doing my radio shows, preaching here, preaching there, and
Wow.
broken, just so hurt,
Jeez.
especially with my last relationship. And so after I bumped my head, you know,
Mm,
times one of my spiritual mothers said, "You're not called to a man in your 20s." And I said,
mm.
clearly. And that's okay. And it doesn't mean that something
Wow.
was wrong with me or with them.
Mm-hmm.
It's just simply, it's not time. And
Yeah.
God's timing is perfect. And I
Yeah.
know that for sure now. Like at 28, I know now
Yeah.
that his time is perfect and I just have to trust him. And honestly, if I can be real with y'all,
Please.
I trusted God with my career, with my ministry,
Mm.
never trusted him with my love life.
Girl. Oh my goodness.
And I'm still healing through that, like
Oh my goodness.
I
Wow.
trusted God more with my business and everything, but didn't
Wow.
I'm like, all right, God, you can handle that. But this relationship area, I got, like, I
Got
got
it.
you. Because to be
Got
honest,
it.
I think sometimes as Christians, we try to act so holy and so right.
Right.
Like, no, no, no. I now know that I was like, God,
Wow.
you can do this. I got the
Yeah.
relationship part, which is why I always ended up with the short end of the stick. Because it wasn't my
Jesus.
man. It wasn't my man,
Jesus.
right? So now I'm like, God, I trust you with that. And now I'm a little hesitant because I've been broke,
Mm-hmm.
because I've been hurt
Yeah.
in that
Yeah.
area. But yeah, I didn't give it over to him fully. And so
Wow.
he's still working on me with that area. Because I don't even remember the last time I sat and prayed for a man. Like,
Mm.
y'all have Sierra's prayer, right? And I had my list when I was younger. When I was in my earlier 20s, I had a list of what I wanted in my husband, and I would do all that. But when I got, a little older, like
Right.
23, 24, I stopped praying for a man. That wasn't my focus.
Wow.
My focus has always been my career, my ministry, these
Wow.
goals. Like I pray
Yeah.
about that all the time. I pray about my assignment all the time.
Right.
But I was never praying about a man.
Yeah.
That's just me.
Yeah.
So, but I should have been praying for that, or trusting God with that more is what I'm trying to say.
Right.
So
Right.
now, um like I said, he's working on me to even pray for that, because honestly, I've been hurt so much that I don't even feel like praying for a man. I'm
Right.
like, God, what do I do that? Like,
I
gotta do that now. Like, we can just focus on this other stuff. But
praying for a man.
I don't want to. I'm like,
I'm
girl.
screaming.
But that's real because
Wow.
I didn't trust God with that. But I'm
Wow.
learning to trust Him with my love.
Wow. Wow. And somebody, I was talking to somebody one day and I was like, do you think that God is just gonna, because we say God gives us the desires of his heart, of our hearts.
Mhm.
But that's by getting close to him and we start to desire what he desires. God is not going to give you the complete opposite of what you want.
That's right.
He's gonna give you what you desire, what will be a good match, where you're going, what it looks like. But we have this fear factor of God don't know my type. And that is so funny
Yes.
to me.
But that's persist. That's true though. Because I've
Mhm.
been like, Lord, all right, please don't be nobody corny though. Like, I can we be real as believers, as women of
Right.
like we're like, all right, I don't want him to be a total geek. Like I'm
Right.
corny, but we just gotta trust him that he's gonna hook us up.
Man.
Gonna hook you because God has
Yeah.
hooked me up in every
Come
other.
on.
So why is God gonna allow
Exactly.
me to get seconds or
Exactly.
why do I think he's gonna give me trash when it comes to my husband,
Come
right?
on.
Purpose partner.
Come
So just
on.
that's what I have to constantly tell myself. Like, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
get no bozo, I'm not gonna get no corny. He's gonna get me shoot an Idris Elba
Period.
or lookalike, not
Yes.
even so because he's married, but somebody like that. Praise the Lord.
Nothing less. Oh my goodness. And it's funny because I feel like we also have this tendency to think if it's coming from God, he's going to be a pastor. He's going to just be this straight. But God knows he matches you with the person that is good for you. There's some people I was looking at, there's some men that are just good, faithful Christians that love the Lord, that just have an easygoing prayer life, like they're solid. And he'll bless them with a solid woman that loves the Lord, knows how to pray. But I think where we get blinded is when we are called and we have a certain place in the spirit realm. We try to get with someone that is can't even reach that level, and
Right.
that's when we get messed up. And I think that that's when the called and the anointed and the gifted ones get hurt, because we try to
Right.
belittle ourselves because we see, oh, this is all I wanted, God. All I wanted was a cool guy. God's like,
Right.
yeah, but I need somebody that can go to that same realm in the spirit with you.
That's right.
Why, if he doesn't even have access to that realm, why would I give him access to you?
Come on.
So I
They
think
can't
that
carry what you're holding.
they
I
can't
carry,
carry.
I carry a lot. What I'm carrying is
Yeah,
I had to
yeah,
go through to get this, right?
yeah.
The oil costs. The oil ain't for free.
Jesus.
So whoever my purpose partner is gonna have to be able to carry the glory.
Carry the glory. Listen,
He's gonna
oh,
have to be able to. So
listen. And the
I
fact that, oh, go ahead. What were you going to say? This is good to me.
said I'm excited to meet him, sis.
I'm excited to meet him. I'm screaming. If you can't help me carry the cross, if you're too weak to carry that, you don't need to carry me. So I think that is so, that was just such a good coffee nugget. That's what we like to call it on here. That was a good coffee nugget that you just gave us. Um, what was your coming to Jesus moment after you had, a heartbreak? He's near to the brokenhearted. How did you pick up the pieces and be like, all right, God, I can't put them back together, but you can? What was that moment for you?
Well, it looked like a lot of praying, a lot of fasting. When I didn't have the strength to pray for myself,
Mm,
my mentors did. I spent a lot of time with my family. I got a good Christian therapist
mm,
and just spent time, with God. Spent
yeah,
time with myself. Spent time in the Word, and didn't jump back into a relationship.
that part.
It's been probably 3.5 years, 4 years ago, 4.5 years ago now,
Wow.
and
Wow.
just haven't jumped back into a relationship just because I know it's not meant, and this is not the
Yeah.
time. That was my
Yeah.
coming moment, just staying in the Word,
Wow.
staying praying in therapy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's very, um, how do I say, it's not as of a far of a reach as we try to make it seem. Those were simple steps. Just get in the word, fast, and let out everything that you're feeling with a Christian therapist. a counselor, a pastor, your family, whatever it may be. Um, so if y'all been trying to figure out how do I get out of this hole that I'm in, do that. She just gave you the key to success.
I gave you the keys to success, and it's hard. Like some days were so dark, sis. Like I
Yeah.
was in full-time ministry at the time and had to go
Wow.
to church every day.
Oh,
Had to go there every day, had to prep these
yeah.
lessons for my youth and do Bible studies and preach on Sundays and
Wow.
still was in seminary. I was
Wow.
depressed. I was in a dark place. Some days I could not get out of bed,
Wow.
right? Like my boss, who happened to be the pastor, of
Mm,
course, he's like, "Are you good? You didn't get to church yet?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good."
mm,
You know, I was struggling, but
mm,
I took it a day at a time, sometimes an
mm.
hour at a time,
Wow.
just trusting in the Lord that He was going to bring me out. And I'll
Wow.
say that 4.5 years later, now I'm out and God is paying
Wow.
me back
Mm,
all the hell that I went.
mm,
So God will pay you back. And after you experience the broken heart, after you experience that low place,
mm,
the season of recompense is yours,
mm. Wow.
promised to you, right?
Wow.
But I had to go through that because I didn't realize it was a part of my assignment. It was a part of my grooming process in my
Wow.
ministry. So usually what you
Wow.
go through is what you're called to. I'm called
Wow.
to help not only young people, but women that's broken
Wow.
hearted. It was a
Yeah.
part of my process. And you go
Wow.
through not for yourself, but for someone else.
Wow. Wow. Where you're broken is where you're called. That is, wow, that was good. So you went from all of that, you got healed, you got free. At what point did you get into doing the Young Black Successful?
So I started Young Black Successful in 2016.
Okay.
And I was in college. I was a sophomore, a broadcasting major, and I just had a lot of mentors and a lot
Okay.
of people that I could go to for advice. My
Wow.
father is a producer and musician,
Wow.
Gary Diggs, very well known in the gospel industry, and I knew that I was going to do gospel radio. So I had all the connects that I needed to start. But my friends in college didn't have those connections. They were in broadcasting,
Mm.
they were radio, they were in TV, but they didn't have the same access that I had
Wow.
or the privileges that I had. So I wanted to start this company where we would help young people and where we would give them success coaches, and those success coaches would navigate them in their
Mm.
career. And so, yeah, we started in 2016. On my 21st birthday, I launched it
Wow.
and started a clothing line, and it's been a success. Like I would see people on campus, I would see people in the greater Philadelphia area with Young Black Successful merch on.
Wow.
It was bigger than me. I said, Lord, I'm not exactly sure where we're going with this, but
Wow.
I know it's a movement. It's more than a hashtag, it's more than a t-shirt. It's a
Yeah.
movement, and we're going to push others to the destiny.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
your name. Oh, I love that. Oh my goodness. Speaking of just broadcasting and just all things industry, my passion is showing the visual side of, the podcast. That's why I love that we're doing video and audio. So in this segment of the show, we're going to take Destiny down memory lane and look at some content that she's put out there, and she's going to tell us a little bit about what was behind it. So let's go to that post.
All right, Destiny. Before you walk in here, I'm just making you aware. I don't know if you're gonna like this. Hey, yes. I like it. Let's move forward.
So can you tell us about what was really happening and what's the message behind that?
Yeah. So that moving forward is just a lesson that I've learned in my life with everything that I've been through. You must continue to move forward. And
Mm,
there was a season where I felt like I didn't have any momentum. And I felt
mm,
like I was at a standstill. How many
mm,
times do we feel like we're just at a standstill with life? Like, God, okay, when am I going to move on from this? When
mm,
will I see the manifestation of God? Right.
mm.
But God gave me that word a couple years ago, like, no, you shall move forward and you will
Wow,
have momentum. And so
wow,
that was the collection. It was my summer collection, Forward. And yeah, Young Black Successful. Like I said, we have a clothing line, and that was our summer collection. So cute t-shirts and masks. I think that was right after COVID, but yeah, we had masks. And so I have a new collection coming out this winter.
Yes.
Look out for that at www.youngblacksuccessful.org/merch.
Wow. Oh, this has been an amazing episode. I don't know about you, sis, but I think this episode was where the men can watch it too. You can watch it to kind of see what we looking for.
Yes, yes.
just
Oh, yes.
just be a stand-up man of God. Don't be corny. But to the women.
To the women, y'all. Jesus.
Listen, in this season, I truly believe that God is really calling us all to be whole. We've all gone through heartbreak. We've all gone through a lot of seasons of loss and just transition. But God really, if He's isolating you right now, He wants to make you whole. He's bottled every tear that you've cried. So in this podcast, just taking the steps that Destiny has shared with us through fasting, through praying, through counsel, through therapy, go through the necessary steps that you need to get to reach that relational status. If let the Lord bring him, let the Lord bring her. But in the midst of that, be whole, but also tend to the plow. Work the work that He has sent you while it is day, because when night cometh, honey, we can't work. So whatever the Lord is putting on your heart, do it. Destiny, this really just blessed me. I'm going to listen to this over and over. Like, you have no idea. So thank you so much. We're running out of time, but do you want to give us some encouragement, like a 10-second little TikTok moment?
Yeah, just to know that all things are working together for the good of those that love the Lord, and God is bringing the pieces together of your life. And just hold on, because one day it will all make sense.
Wow. Oh, hold on, y'all, and move forward. Okay.
Yeah.
Please be sure to follow Destiny on all social media platforms for daily encouragement, for inspiration, and to just learn how to be young, Black, and successful. Thank y'all so much for tuning in this week. I can't wait to see you next week. Remember that this is Jesus first, then coffee. See you next time.